April's always first.
There we are. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Renee. Hi, Rita. Rita, are you unmuting?
Hi, Melissa. Howard.
Hi, Howie. I haven't seen you in a year.
He's muted.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Melissa.
Melissa. I feel like it's been
I'm
a
going to turn
month.
my speaker up because I cannot hear anyone.
Might be better that way.
Okay.
That's weird. Melissa, I'm trying to make you the host, but I don't see the option. Wait. Maybe it's my fault. Okay.
While she's doing that, is anybody bothered by the air conditioner running behind me? Can you hear it?
No,
No?
I could use some.
I'm sending it your way, April.
Thank you.
I don't see icicles yet hanging from our ceiling, so we'll leave it on.
Oh, that's right. You must be suffering in this heat.
Yeah, I stupidly went for a walk yesterday. What was that about? I don't know. COVID must be affecting my mind or something.
Yes.
Nice day for a walk.
95 degrees.
Yeah, that's I said. The COVID, being locked in the house is affecting the brain too much.
Amen.
Usually I'm hibernating this time of the year.
I know.
At work or at home?
What was the question?
I didn't ask when.
Oh, did April?
No. We were just talking.
Shall we call ourselves to order?
Yes.
Okay. So the one problem I'm having is I'm having a hard time hearing everybody. So I'm going to put my speaker on. Hold on 1 second. You guys can still hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll call ourselves to order. Linda, are you ready? Yeah.
That's a yes.
All right. So the first thing is to review the agenda. And does anyone have any additional items they'd like to add? Or would you, anything you'd like to rearrange?
Melissa,
Yep.
I'd like to delete the 6:35 AC reopening question. I don't believe we will be hearing from anyone unless there's someone here. Is there someone here about the AC? It doesn't sound like it.
Okay, so we will take.
But Renee is here.
Renee, are you about the AC?
No? Oh, okay.
What were they asking? I'm not going back there until I get a vaccine, so I don't know what they're thinking. I'm not on the board of directors, so I have no idea.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us, Renee, anyway. All right, so we'll take off the AC reopening then.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so anyone here for open public comment? Raise your hand. Okay, no one is. Would anybody like to make a public comment, even if you're not here for one? Marianne.
I would like to thank you all for your service to the town of Shutesbury, especially during this very challenging time.
Thank you, Marianne. We appreciate that.
Back at you.
Okay, we can move right along, although I don't see, you were expecting Dan, right, Becky, for the police?
Actually, he's gonna call in about 6 or 6:10.
Okay, so we'll move that and we'll wait for that part until he arrives then.
Yep.
if that's okay. All right. So why don't we review the municipal vulnerability report and forum? Is anyone here for that? Okay, shall we start with there then?
I just wanted to throw, Melissa, is there any chance you want to take, ask Renee what she's here for? And also see if we have a couple here, people here, I think, for the recycling shed, maybe move them up.
Okay, sure, we can do that. Renee, may we ask what topic you'd like to discuss with us tonight?
I'm not sure I want to listen about the dam, and there's several other people coming, but on your schedule, it said around 6, I think.
Yeah, 6.
So I
Okay,
think we should just move into something else until they get here.
okay. Yeah, we'll keep that on track for the scheduled time.
Sure. Shall we bring the shed topic to the top, April and
Yeah.
Rita, how do you feel about that? I can't hear you, Rita.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it says we can hear her and we can't. Rita, you're in zombie land.
Rita, just call in on your phone. There's a phone-in number.
I think she has it on speed dial.
Oh, no.
I wonder why it's not working. What?
I know, because it,
You need to turn up your speakers.
Rita,
No,
does it only?
no, she has to turn on her microphone. And
Yeah.
it could be that her microphone doesn't work.
We'll let you in.
Does somebody want to lip sync for Rita?
I know, right? Whoops.
I don't have the skills.
We need some music.
She can use the chat function and communicate that way.
I don't see her in the waiting room. Oh, she hasn't finished the dialing yet. Do you see anyone in the waiting area, Becky?
No, it's not, I'm not holding people back today.
Oh, okay. All right.
They're just pouring right in.
Just coming on in. Okay. I won't keep an eye on that then. Is she coming in?
Oh,
What would we do if we didn't have tech problems?
I know. How many screens have you watched in conversation and people freezing and not usually looking good?
There she is. I see her. I'm going to change your name.
Hi, Rita, we can hear you. We see your phone.
You have to, I'm going to mute that. There you go.
Okay,
Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you, but there's a lot of feedback.
Yeah, what's that?
I don't know.
Kelly has
if
a
I'm
terrible
muted.
phone line.
Or mute your computer?
You can always just use your iPad to call in and use that microphone.
Oh my God.
Let's see. Hold on.
All right, you know what, I'm gonna, just go ahead and get going and I'll go get my iPad and try that.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you just close you can keep your phone, but close your computer.
She's going to get her iPad.
Okay. All right. We were going to go talk about the recycling shed that currently is located down at the elementary school. Becky, do you want to give us a little bit of a fill-in?
Sure.
People here are part of the packet.
Okay, so we, as you all know, the shed has been a topic of conversation for some months. The last thing that I updated you on is that we had posted the shed on Craigslist, and we had some responses, but we were I have not been able to sell it. We were trying to sell it on Craigslist, and that has not worked. There have been a couple of, I've talked to about 5 people, and the pricing was more than they wanted. And so there was a conversation between Mary Ann and myself and Merrill, who stopped by. And we were talking about, Mary Ann, about potentially how could she make, if she could make use of the shed. And she started thinking about all the things that she has stored in town hall, in the basement, in her own garage, in, you know, all around in different people's houses. And we figured out a way that it would be useful, that, you know, there are particular items that wouldn't, you know, that could do very well in the shed. Then was speaking with Catherine Hilton and Noreen Pease, who are both on the Board of Health. And I said, is there any chance you guys have any need for storage? And they both looked at me like their mouths dropped open. They said, that's our biggest dream, is to have some place to put all these things. And what's happened is they have one trailer, but it's already full, and anything they put in there, they have to take something else out. They have some materials that have to be temperature controlled and can't go in that shed, or the trailer. But they have a number of items like the new tents that they would like, they're hoping to get out of town hall. So the proposal is that the current recycling shed be given to the library and the Board of Health, and then the recycling committee would order the shed that they've always had proposed in the beginning to put at the school. That is a more finished shed by appearance. And the current shed would be placed on the library lot, a little bit into the woods, but near the front. If you're driving by on Leverett Road, it would be tucked in between trees right there. And that would be done by our highway department. They've already agreed to clear the area and help with that move. So that's the proposal coming to the select board to see if you would approve that.
So where is the funding coming for this, the new shed?
That's from the finance committee has agreed to replace that shed when we, they had been apprised of the plan to sell it, and they agreed to it. They have already done a FinCom transfer for the new money to pay for the new shed. When I go to their meeting tonight, I will tell them about the new proposal on how the town would like to make use of the shed that we already have.
Sounds like a very nice solution to something that seemed to have no solution for a while. Does that mean the select board is painting 2 sheds?
Actually,
Don't tell Rita.
other shed comes painted.
Okay.
So it'll still just be one shed to paint.
Rita, the select board decided to paint the shed when it had,
I was actually at that meeting when you guys volunteered, but I wasn't part of the board then.
Who else was?
I'll still be there. I'll do it.
I'm happy to paint. My husband said I am the worst painter ever, but I'm
I'm
happy.
a good painter. I'll still volunteer for it.
You don't have to.
You let me
And
know.
just to mention, I sent Mary Ann some info that said maybe paint's not the best thing for it. A stain would probably be better. And it's a specific information on what to use for a finish and how to prepare the shed before you do it.
there was a side conversation kind of going on, and my house is made of the same boards as that, and it was paint stain. Well, it's a paint stain we have on it, and it was done in 1992 and hasn't been touched since. So,
And it looks beautiful. Yeah. So I think the stain is the way to go.
I think so.
And just, since I missed that part, the shed will be put at the library, Mary Ann, back, like in the far.
Yeah, tucked in the woods on the side.
Okay.
The side by the
next to
road.
fence. Yeah. So, and there are some spots on the shed where, you know, so it's not watertight, or, so we would want to shore it up a little bit, but I would take responsibility for making that happen with volunteers. So that, you know, so that it's watertight and rodent tight. The way it is now, it's not, but but we wouldn't have to do a complete renovation. We would just cover up the places where you can see right into it. So, with some boards. And it's not going to be, it's not really something people are going to see. It's going to kind of blend in.
Is the select board ready to vote? Do you have any more questions or anything like that? No? Okay. All in favor of bringing the shed to the library for the Board of Health in the library?
Carol, I.
Did you have a motion?
We didn't move it
We
yet.
didn't make a motion.
Can I have a motion?
You have a motion. I'll move that that the shed that was originally purchased for the recycling committee is now to be repurposed for the library and the Board of Health.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Carol, I.
Stein, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Good.
It'll have a good home.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The good solution.
It is. It's win-win.
Okay. All righty. All right.
So-
Take care, everybody.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So shall we do minutes while we're kind of waiting for 6 o'clock? Where are we? Is there anything else we could move up? Maybe the PAF approval and the minutes? Does that sound good with the board members?
Yeah, it does.
While we're waiting for Dan? Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes from, hold on, I have them on my screen.
July 17th?
17th, is that?
I think it's the 17th, yes. Yes.
Yes, 17th.
Yes, so moved.
21st?
21st, yeah, I thought it was the 21st, yes. It's the July
21st.
21st.
Do I hear a second? Rita?
Yes, yes.
Sorry, I was just trying to pull them up.
All in, any corrections or edits?
No.
No.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from the 21st?
Carol, I.
Stein, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. Okay, and the PAF for the fire department. Are we getting an additional person, Becky?
No, actually, what is happening is Walter has and Mark have been talking. Mark Foster is, as you know, he's been our engineer for quite a while and assisting, putting in almost, 30 hours a week with the department, but it's all been volunteer. And what Mark has found out is that he can make some additional money. And Walter's request is that Mark get paid for training, not for the on-call response, but for training.
So the Thursday night training.
Mm-hmm. And any other courses that he has to attend or does attend. And this came to my attention because he was the only person Walter was able to get for an annual town meeting to assist him. And so he put in for payment for that 5 hours. And that's when we had the conversation that he was switching status. He wanted Mark to switch status, which we're following up with the paperwork on.
So he would be paid the rate of any other fire person.
Yes. It's around almost 20, it's $18 or $20 an hour at this point.
And there's room within the budget, Becky?
And within the fire department budget, the training did go over last year, but there was an exceptional situation that Walter is he's put in place a requirement that what happened last year is they sent somebody to the fire academy and it took up a large portion of the training budget for one individual, and that won't be repeated this year. So there's plenty of room for one more person in their current budget.
All right. Do I hear a motion to change Mark Foster's status on the PAF from volunteer to trainee employee, I guess, or whatever the official
Yeah,
title?
what is the title?
His title is an engineer.
Engineer.
Yes, engineer, fire engineer. And it's for training and permits, because he also does the fire permits for the fire alarms in people's houses.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay.
I
And any
I do have
further
a question.
Okay.
Yeah, just, is there any consultation that needs to happen with the personnel committee or anybody else? Is this a new, is it effectively a new position, or is it?
No, the position
Renaming.
was created, the position was created about 4 or 5 years ago as the engineer. The only change is that he's getting paid for training,
Okay,
which is, other officers are paid for a response. He's limited in how much he can do if he goes on a call. He can't do a lot of things on an actual call, physical things. So that's not, he's administrative
I see.
in his capacity.
Okay,
And it was the select board that approved the engineer position. So this would just be adding one facet of payment
And doesn't, the personnel board also has to sign off on this,
on the PAF.
on the PAF, yes.
Okay. Any further questions? Do you feel good about that, Rena, or?
yeah, no, that's fine. I just wanted to
Yeah, no, I appreciate
understand the process.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Farrell, I.
Stein, aye.
Lisa O'Neill, aye. Okay. All right. We still have a few more minutes to go before 6 o'clock.
Okay, so
Yep.
the other two things on the agenda, Melissa, were a review of the public forum with Chief Fernandez
Yes.
and the municipal vulnerability report. So since the chief is coming on at 6, maybe we could do the municipal vulnerability report.
You can do that, sure. I unfortunately would miss that, had some family issues to deal with. So would people like to talk about what they saw on the forum and the report? Rita and April, did you attend?
I was not there.
I was. And I have to say, I was very impressed with the consultants that we had, the process that we had, that we went through as a community, and by the people who were part of that process and the thoughtful, responses people had and what they brought up in terms of how, where our community is vulnerable as climate change exists, and hopefully doesn't, but probably will progress. I feel like we're going to come out with a document that is really going to be useful, and hopefully be able to get some grant money to make some major changes or to help mitigate what's going to happen.
And so the process was the report was available online prior to the event. We had, I think we had about 25 people attend the event in total. It could be less. I'm a little confused between, yeah, I think it was about 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fuss and O'Neill report was, they did a presentation with a PowerPoint that is available to the public to review at this point. There were some people that did submit comments after the report, and those are being incorporated into the report, and then it'll come back to the select board for your review. And that should be happening maybe next week. I know the comments came in by last Friday. And it's been an interesting process. People have different understandings of what they think it's about. The focus is climate change, but it does have societal impacts, which broadens, what it applies to. I think we've gotten a lot of good suggestions about how to deal with issues that are expanding our forests, such as, damage from runoffs. The example of just what happened after the weather last Tuesday night. New places are getting hit. There's a lot more tree damage. Power goes out more easily. That we only had a storm for a couple of hours. Well, it wasn't a very severe storm last week, but we lost power for almost 24 hours townwide, which was, a surprise to many people, I think.
Parts of Connecticut just got their lights back today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were much harder hit. But it's a pretty comprehensive report with a lot of good suggestions of how to be more prepared in many ways.
Becky, the one comment I have overall about the process and the report is, what will happen at Shutesbury is not unique to Shutesbury. I mean, it's so many communities, and there are many communities in Franklin County that are similar to us. So I'd really like to see going forward this conversation not happening solely within our geographic boundaries, but it's a regional issue, it's a state issue, obviously it's a national issue. And, to the extent that we can be, working with the Council of Governments or whoever else to make sure that there are kind of more regional discussions too, because there's each individual town kind of coming up with its own solutions with very, it's going to be very small amounts of money. And yes, it'd be great to get some money, but if there could be, ways of cooperating with other communities around some of that.
That issue, the points you're making came up at the session, and the explanation, the state is very much and intentionally focusing in on municipalities at this stage because their ability to respond, each town's ability to respond varies, and she did go through and point out enough unique situations that would apply to grant money or that are particular to our geography and are, that are unique to Shutesbury. So we should talk more about that because I think that does come into play, and they do have a lot of programs that respond more regionally. But this is a situation where they're trying to dig down so that people really look at how they operate in their own community before they reach out to the next community. To really look at their particular culverts and waterways and roadways and the things that make us vulnerable.
Right.
And I think Rita, your point is well made and well taken. The Lake Wyola Dam certainly would, if that breached, it would certainly impact Leverett quite a bit.
Yeah, more so than us.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, I think there's 117 houses downstream, and only 5 of them are in Shutesbury.
Right.
Yeah. That's one issue. Yep. And it's almost 6 o'clock.
It is. So our next step is we'll receive the report to review it then. Right, Becky, if I read that correctly, heard that correctly?
I'm sorry?
Our next step is we will receive the report and we'll be able to review it.
Yep. Yep, and start reviewing and evaluating, prioritizing. I mean, looking at the prioritization that's already been done on potential projects for the future. I think there's a list of about 50 or more. So it will take some, thorough review and conversations, community conversations.
All right. So it's about 6 o'clock. I don't see Dan popping in yet. But welcome everybody. Renee, go ahead.
Just wanted to say I texted Nancy and they would like to postpone their meeting.
Nancy Matthews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm texting her back, Renee. Yeah, that's why we took it off, because we didn't have reason to come.
Nancy's here.
I can see Nancy now.
Nancy, are you here?
She's muted.
Oh, there you go. Oh, unmute yourself. Here for the AC Club part? Yes. So, Becky, are you texting Dan to see if he's going to pop in? I don't board with that part,
yeah.
Or Jen, unless he's there. Or we could go to the dam, but. One moment, please.
Just left.
Huh?
Okay. Nancy Matthews said no problem.
Okay. So where are we on the agenda?
Well, we were heading to the police forum, but Dan hasn't come in, so I don't want to start on that one yet. We are a little early for the dam one, and I see people popping in that may have some interest in listening to that conversation. So,
I have one more little thing.
okay, why don't we fit that in until we get to, go ahead.
Okay, so what I need to let you know is the Board of Health is working towards an EDS where they will be prepared to dispense vaccines if the opportunity arises. And to do that, they had to reinstate their UMass account, University of Massachusetts account. So we just wanted an approval by the select board to move ahead and reopening their UMass account.
Okay.
So are they going to present that, or should we just move on that?
Move on that. Yeah, I'm presenting. It's an agreement that has been signed before between the university and the town of Shutesbury that sets all the guidelines of how they handle receiving the vaccine and all the guidelines that go with that.
Okay.
I hear a motion to approve the Board of Health to renew their account with UMass.
So moved.
Now second.
Okay. All in favor?
Carol, aye.
Stein, aye.
Thank you, Sonia. Aye. Becky, does that need to be signed?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I'll put it with the PAF.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right. I still don't see Dan. Becky, do you have a confirmation from him at all? So we can go on to the Dan and then come back.
He's, yeah, well,
No?
He said yeah, I'm just, 1 second. I think he will come. I think he'll be here shortly.
He's calling in, right?
Yes.
He'll be calling in.
Yeah, he's not in the office, so he doesn't have visuals today.
That's fine.
When we get to a certain amount of people, I can't see everyone.
I know. I think an iPhone just popped in.
It did. Dan, we see you, I think. Can you just?
All right, well, that's me. I'm here.
Hi, Dan. Thank you.
Not a problem.
We were just going to go into the review of public police forum.
The what?
The review of the public police forum.
Which will be followed shortly with the dam issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anybody have? Okay, I think the police forum was very well attended. We had 45 people attend. And there were a lot of very good questions asked, I thought.
Yeah. I think everybody did really well. Dan did really well conveying answers. Paul did really well moderating. He had a lot going on in that meeting, and he did very well moderating. And I'm glad we did it. I'm glad, Dan, you did that for everybody and introduced a couple of your officers to the community as well.
And I thought they presented themselves very well.
Yeah, definitely. You know, both the format and the content were great. And I think it was a really good opportunity to introduce the police department to people in the town who don't really know them, and kind of opened up communication. And I thought, you know, having Paul moderate worked really well again. So as it did with the finance committee.
Yep.
And is there a sense that we need to do a follow-up in the near future, or should we just sit on this for a little while? I don't know what kind of follow-up you might have had from people, Chief.
I had a lot of follow-up. There was a few people I received emails from and follow-ups in regards to what we talked about. And I think that's what really started pretty open dialogue and continuing dialogue. So it's pretty exciting. Wait to see how that goes and continues.
One of the things that might work is if there are issues, specific issues, you know, we don't have to do an hour and a half, but it might be a half an hour talking about policing or traffic control or whatever else that just, you know, gives people an opportunity to kind of not have to come one-on-one to you because it's not a big issue, but for you to kind of present, Dan, sort of what you're seeing, or if there are just, you know, some burning issues that you think would make sense to communicate in a kind of more public forum, that we could use the same method, you know, having a Zoom call.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, I haven't had any pressing issues that have come up as far as something that I couldn't handle with the person that brought it up. But if I do get the similar questions, certainly can look into and make happen. I mean, I don't know. To me, the Zoom meeting, as much as, you know, we can't really be next to each other as much, I think it allowed for a lot more people to join, you know, in their own comfort, you know, in their own home, and be able to have this conversation. So
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And tonight we're gonna, thank you for jumping in, Dan, because this issue involves the police department as well, the next issue about the dam.
Mhm.
Yes, so there's been some concerns that have been raised to the select board about the dam and things that are happening there. And so, Becky, you know a little bit about others that have come in. We did get a note from Howie. Howie's here.
Yeah. I really haven't had much other conversation. I've had a few people ask me why the dam is blocked off. And I think the reference is to, you know, the barriers that have been put off near Howie's parking spot and the new cones that the police have put up along the roadway. But I haven't had complaints outside of Howie's letter.
Mm-hmm. Howie, not everyone here has had the opportunity to read the letter. Do you want to give us a summary of what you put in that letter?
Unmute. There you are.
There you
Am
go.
I unmuted?
Yep,
Yes.
I'm not good at this, so
you're
if you
getting
don't hear
better.
me, let me know. We've had, well, a lot of little problems launching and docking of watercraft on the dam. We've had people pitching, erecting tents, umbrellas, and shelters. A lot of kids running back and forth on not very well supervised on the top of that dam, which is in the spillway, which is very slippery. Where I don't have bicycles and skateboards out there. Then I've had a little damage done on the spillway by somebody that thought they'd like to break up a little of the concrete. Had people that pick up some of the rocks on the lakeside, and they're heavy, so they see how far they can walk out into underwater and then just drop them, leave them there. Or we had a few that take them and they try to bounce them off the pipe on the downward side of the lake, you know, and it's things like that. And the trash I've been picking up. So far this year, I've only got a bag and a half since April, but that's a little better than last year. But there is an awful lot of people. I did have to talk to somebody at Morris Hill because they were bringing all their kayaks in and using that for a swimming area. And they weren't socially distancing or wearing masks. And I had to tell them that it really isn't part of the town's recreation area. And there's still people fishing down there. I don't know where they got this idea they were not allowed anymore. I mean, I'm not encouraging it, but if they wanted to fish, they can. You know what else I can tell you?
No. Do you see some of this happening on a daily basis?
Beg your pardon?
Do you see some of it happening on a daily basis?
No, well, the swimming, yes. A lot of, in this hot weather, that's our other problem too, is the state only opens the small parking lot. So when that's full, they shut down. So what they do, people come and park over by the dam, which is no problem for me. It isn't too nice for the neighbors, but then they walk down to the state park, or some of them have been decided that why walk that distance, just go out and use the dam area. I don't know just what we can do about it, but I thought you should be brought aware of it because I'm afraid there's going to be an accident. And
Dan, I have a question for you. Do you do any, do the officers do any, I know they do on the beach occasionally, any like community policing or anything on the dam, or is it more just a drive-by and glance?
they have stopped. came down and talked to me, and they have talked to some of the people, but it's not a daily thing. They're there, I guess, if I need them.
So do we have any established rules or policies in the past that have been adopted regarding the dam?
Well, we've got 5 signs on the side of the gate shack down there on different things like leaving the rocks alone. We've got a sign on that about the danger of the fall area, because it is about a 12-foot drop off on the back side of the dam towards the road, and it's onto rocks because the dam is now the total dam is a spillway in case of a large overflow. The dam can be overflowed without damage. And because of that, they've built up rocks on the lower side so that it doesn't eat under the dam too. And there is signs for, well, the Board of Health put up one for the COVID-19, and they say no more than 10 people, and they use social distancing and masks if you need it. There is one for, well, the dangers of some of the aquatic life and animals and stuff like that. And I do have one big sign for the dangers of when I'm drawing water on the lakeside. In fact, there's one on the lakeside and one on the west side of the gate shack on the dangers in that area. And that area is marked off for no swimming and no fishing. Because a few years back, I had some kids, I was on my beach and I saw them headed for the dam, and I told them, stay away from the whirlpool. I looked down to the dam and the kids trying to jump into the whirlpool. And that whirlpool, I don't know if you know about some of the swimming pools where they had just that 10-inch drain was holding kids to the bottom. Well, this is a 4-foot wide screen with the gate wide open, which it'll suck you right up against it. And you're not going to get away from it. And so that's why we went into marking that area off, try to keep people out of that. But,
And how often are you there? Are you there every morning?
I'm there at least once a day,
Uh-huh.
usually twice.
Yeah.
Mainly twice now, just to make sure somebody isn't doing something. I really need to only check it once.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan, I'm also curious, what kind of, what are you seeing for us, or what are the police seeing?
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
So we aren't seeing, I mean, we haven't had any complaints that I know of as far as from people on the dam or issues at the dam. And we had some issues last year with parking and with, other things last year, and we had problems with people throwing the rocks last year. I know we talked about that in depth. I think we got some more signage. I don't know how much that's made a difference, probably not much. But I don't think we've had an overwhelming amount of complaints this year. It's been more concentrated at the state beach that we've been dealing with.
This gets complicated by, I'm one of the people that loves to swim off of the dam and have for years in the morning. It's a really lovely place to swim, as some of the people attending this meeting will attest to. And as competent adults, I think that there's generally been a sense of using it responsibly. I don't get a sense of, that there's it's been sort of become a part of our community in a way. And this is an extraordinary summer in that, the state beach is, in my opinion, not being, it's being sort of run, it's kind of a mess. So the overflow ends up impacting the dam. And what you're talking about, Howie, is extremely dangerous. And, you know, so it makes this very complicated. So I'm glad we have people here who we can talk about this. You know, what are our choices? You know, I guess one choice is to do nothing. And I don't know if that's, you know, to leave things the way they are. And I don't know if that's okay, or there's something between, you know, not ever allowing anybody on the dam. I think those are probably the two extremes. But, you know, I know how enjoyable that place on the lake can be for myself and other people. So where do we go?
Paula, go ahead.
Oh, you're muted.
Who's muted?
Paula, there you go.
There I am. Thank you, Howie, first of all, for taking such good care of the dam. Really appreciate it. Really like to see you out there on my early morning swim. Yeah, well, when I have witnessed the state beach personnel sending people to the dam to wait for the next time that the parking lot is open. So that's one thing that we might be able to work on. Mm-hmm. And I think the word has gotten out that that's the place where you wait for the parking lot to open, especially for people who come from a long distance. And they have also, the personnel has also told people that they can park and walk into the state beach. And I thought that the reason that they're staggering people coming on is so that they could distance and keep the beach safe. However, if they're letting people in after they've closed it, that undermines their, intention, it seems to me. And I don't know how much control we have or whether or not we even could speak to that with the state. So that's one thing. And, but I know what Howie's talking about. I've driven by and seen all that commotion, and I wouldn't go there because I don't want to be around that many people. But I am an early morning swimmer, and I do really appreciate that, as April said, and respect it too as town property. So I don't know if, I guess I would say, wonder if the state could be a place to start in terms of not, directing people there as a place to hang out. I mean, they probably don't want people yelling at them because they came from a distance and now they can't get into the parking lot. I don't know.
I do know, Paula, I do know that they were sending people to the town beach early on in the summer, and that got quickly overcrowded. We had, that was an issue, and we asked them to stop doing that. And I believe we've also asked them to stop sending people to the dam, but I can't verify. Dan, have your folks asked people, DCR not to send people to the dam?
Yes, we have. I mean, we've talked to DCR on a few different occasions. The issue with DCR a lot of times is the lack of hours that they're allotted per week or, per year. And this year they're leaving at 3 or 4 o'clock, and then they're just leaving the gate open, and the lake is open until dusk. So, we run into a lot of issues once DCR is gone. And with our limited ability to enforce anything at the lake, it makes it hard to continue to make things change.
Right. Lane, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay, one thing I've noticed when I've been there, and there have been a couple of times that I've been there and there have been some families who were playing in the water around the cordoned off area. And what I saw was that even though there's signs that say that it's a dangerous area, they don't know what that means. And they were thinking that it was, one family thought it was because we were trying to protect the ducks that were in there. And I had to explain it to them. And what I realized is that the sign that talks about it being dangerous is on the building facing the water. So you're already in the water when you see that sign. At least the sign that I saw. So I was wondering if maybe better signage there about why that area is dangerous and keeping people away from it. And maybe another sign that has to do with jumping in on the rocks and the dangers of that, because I know people they want to take their kids somewhere, but they don't realize how dangerous and how slippery those rocks are. But I will agree with Paula and April that it's a place that locals have gone for a number of years and have been very respectful of it. And I would hate to see it taken away from those of us who have respected it and used it at least what I think is responsibly.
Can I say something here?
Okay, Howie first and then Dee Dee. Go ahead, Howie.
On the signage, there is a sign on the lake side, and there also is a sign just like it as you walk in on the west side, on the southwest side. A big sign right on the side of the building there. So there's two of them, not one. And I did go down and talk to the state today, because yesterday I was told a kayaker was trying to take his boat or his kayak out at the state beach, and of course you can't, it's not allowed. And one of the lifeguards told him to go down to the dam because that's the place to do it. So I went down there today to talk to them about it. The state people don't tell people that, from what they said, and they will talk to their lifeguards to don't be sending people to the dam. So.
Dee Dee, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you. So I just want to thank Howie for everything. You know, it's been what, over 15 years, and you've taken really good care of all of us, and I really appreciate you. And I appreciate the forum that we're having this conversation. I do want to say one thing about the sign. So I'm a visual person, so sometimes reading things it takes me a little bit longer. So one of the thoughts that I had, because when I saw that, and I've seen it for many years, but it took me a little bit to understand it. And there's some people that English isn't their first language, and so that they might not be able to read that for a number of reasons. I was thinking, because you've done that really nice little, that with the bobbers and stuff and the rope, if we could have an X in there somehow, because X really means no, you can't do that, or to make it more visual that you shouldn't be in that spot. Because I do remember looking at that one time when I first read it and thought, oh, well, does that mean you should swim there? Because I didn't understand it. And I'm fairly bright, but it's because I'm more visual. And so I think that might be one way to sort of, that's only a part of this conversation tonight. And I also want to thank the select board and the people that are on for, being thoughtful about this, because I think it is a bigger conversation. And I hope that we're looking at it in a bigger conversation way. And we are in a really hard state right now, right? In COVID, and everyone has COVID fatigue and, all of that. And so we've noticed the numbers have increased. And I did hear you say, Howie, that there were some other issues a couple of years ago and maybe, on and off, but particularly this year, I think we're all feeling the impact. I see, up and down the corridor of our roads, no parking, no parking, no parking. And I understand that. And I appreciate that people just need to take care of themselves. So I think that we should be really thoughtful about this. And I think Elaine and Paula have both said, and we've been swimming there as a group of women for over 15 years, I think now. And, Howie put up a little hook for us to put our stuff up. And no, you've been really wonderful. So, and I want to respect the things that you've been doing for us. And I also want to respect the people that have been respectful in the use. So I just hope that our conversation keeps going, because especially now in our day and age, and it doesn't feel like we have a voice in a lot of things, it would be nice to have a voice in our town. So And that's all I'm going to say. But I appreciate everybody here and the thoughtfulness.
Good.
So maybe those are two suggestions. I wrote them down, the visual, maybe a more visual sign with you know, I think that's maybe a thought.
Maybe a buoy that just says danger. I'm not sure how you would anchor that, maybe to attach it to the dam and have it floating in there. That would be pretty
Can I make some comments?
I saw David's hand first. Go ahead, David.
Actually, Ryan's been in the little hand raiser thing. So why don't you?
Okay, I'll go to Ryan then. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks Howie so much for all the work you do on the dam. It really, if it wasn't for Howie, it would be a huge mess. And I really appreciate that. I own the house right next to the dam there. And also I appreciate all the people who respect the dam and have treated it well. We appreciate everyone using it. And it's been great for the town, and everyone appreciates it. And it's just, you know, lately it's been a little bit rough where there's just been a lot of use of it, and there has been some issues. So, I mean, what strikes me is just how can we sort of reduce the number of people going there, and the parking is kind of a big deal. And I mean, I would be open to having no parking in front of my house there where everyone parks. And that's where all the State Beach parking overflow goes. There's people there every day, all day. If that was no parking all the way up the street, I mean, where would they go, right? And then you could still have as much walk on from local people as you want who want to use the place. Maybe that's an option. And we would just have to lock down Howie's spot. And you know, Howie he can also just use our driveway, and we could close down that spot if that was an option, right? Just to make it less inviting for all those people coming.
Thank you, Ryan. David, you had a question or a comment.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks to everybody. Ryan, I have a question. Ryan, do you live in the house on the corner, or do you live on the house as you look out at the dam just to the right?
To the right.
Okay. So really where everybody parks. So I guess one question that I wanted to ask is, have we had, up till now, have we had any injuries there over the last few years that we're aware of, or maybe we wouldn't even know? I don't know.
None that we're aware of.
Okay.
Or about 20 years.
Great. So there's no question this year, you know, because of the State Beach, you know, the problems there, that the dam has been overcrowded at times. It does strike me that we've controlled that to some degree by constricting the parking to the level that we already have. You know, I mean, before we put the town put all the cones up on the north side of Locks Pond, there was people parking everywhere. And so it's pretty much, maybe there's 7 spots, and then there's the house on the corner. Those folks seem to be pretty generous about their couple of spots there too. So, you know, from a parking standpoint, kind of limited it. Ryan's idea is interesting, except for not everybody lives within walking distance. So those morning swimmers wouldn't really have a place to be able to, you know, they'd have to walk there. So I'm not sure if that, you know, as a solution that would make everybody happy. What strikes me though is that we're in an extraordinary summer with COVID and with the State Beach closed. We have 4 weekends to go. It seems to me that the weekend days are definitely worse. Maybe Howie, you see it every day. You might know better, and I could be talking without knowledge here, but I do drive by a lot. The weekend days are definitely, you know, where tents are set up and grills are going and all of that. We have 4 weeks to go, including Labor Day. I think there's been all our consciousness about this has been raised for all of us. I know we've been there a few times in the late afternoon, early evening, and seen kids doing things that seem not safe, and just sort of in a kindly way, even when their parents are there, said, hey, that's not really safe. You shouldn't do that. And sort of, you know, gently been citizen police, if it were, not getting into arguments. No one's argued, but I guess I'm wondering, another step we could take if we're really concerned about injuries and about a real situation happening there would be to perhaps close it off on weekends. There may be some equity issues there that I don't want to, just throw that out there like that doesn't, hurt everybody, but it doesn't seem to me it's as crowded in the week. And then the last thing I'll say is that, again, totally anecdotal, but I drove by twice Saturday and twice Sunday. The car spaces were all full, but on Saturday there was, in the afternoon, there was only 4 people I saw on the dam, and Sunday there was no people on the dam, yet all the spaces were taken. So it may be calming down, we're past July 4th, we're past some of the thick of summer, I just hate to see us take the extreme measure when most people are capable of using it in a responsible way, and maybe we can help others to learn to be more responsible. One other question that I have though, Howie, when you don't have the spillway open, you can't get sucked in there if the spillway's closed, right? Or can you? Is it dangerous at all times?
No, that's not the spillway. That's
not what I mean. Yeah,
the
the
spillway
dam.
is where the water's going all the time.
I'm sorry, the actual dam where you would release water from.
No, no, you wouldn't. But I've had times where you never know when I'm going to open it because you get a big storm coming. I had a time here last year when I opened it, when I closed it, a big snapping turtle came up. He got sucked up to the gate, and he couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I think I saw that snapping turtle yesterday.
I know everybody smelled him.
Yeah.
Dan, I have a question. Do you think that your officers could pop in there a teeny bit more over the next couple weekends, 3-4 weekends? Well, I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send out an email right now and put that out there to make some more frequent stops there. And
yeah, have them shake hands and just peek in.
Yeah, no. If anything changes, I'll keep Becky advised and let you know if anything more occurs down there.
Yeah, I think that's what we can do at least immediately to have some eyes down there. I know Howie's watching it, and all of you, the rest of you are watching it, but having some other eyes down there popping in that could help. I don't know what Rita and April think, but I think we can do that.
Makes sense. When does the DCR beach close? What's the official?
Is it after Labor Day? Yeah.
Because if it stays this warm, people are going to be using that, I assume, well after Labor Day.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they're going to open the larger parking after they close. They're not. Even when they're closed.
No, they don't. The large parking lot's always closed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense to have our chief and officers, be there. But I think, another conversation with the DCR folks to reinforce, and maybe it's a letter rather than just individual conversations, but it's a letter that comes from the select board saying, we have serious concerns about the fact that people are getting directed over to the dam area, that, despite individual conversations and just raise the level of conversation here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea.
I like the idea of a letter. I know we have been communicating with them.
Yeah, but I think it's something that, we need to be making just a little bit more official. So when push comes to shove, we can say, look, we told you this was a problem, and we don't want to have to go beyond whoever's managing Lake Wyola Beach to kind of more senior people to get what we need.
And we yes.
All right.
And so should we plan, oh, go ahead.
April, I was just thinking, I can prepare a letter, but are you talking about sending this to the beach management or to DCR management, the uppity ups?
How about both?
Yeah, I would say to one and then copy the other.
Okay.
So that you're not having to repeat it later on. Super.
All right.
So does that,
let's start there. That makes sense to everybody. And work on some signage on the side. See if we can have any more big X's or something more visual.
something visual, a picture of somebody going through
falling.
a whirlpool.
Yeah, or falling.
That might,
Could we put a flag out when the dam is open?
Ryan, was that you?
Yeah, Ryan just said putting a flag
out
when the dam is open, when the not the spillway, that thing is open.
When the drain is going?
When the gate's open.
Gate open danger is not on a flag is not a bad idea. But does that attract people to it?
Yeah,
it might.
Let's check that one out with council because it could either be misread or what if Howie forgot to put the flag out and somebody gets sucked in thinking there's no problem. I mean, we don't want to put more pressure on Howie.
No.
It could create an accident. That's my concern.
And maybe a small buoy in the middle of that really could, that would be very, very clear. Or an X across from one side to the other, that would be clear. With blood.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it needs to be more visual. That there's no, yeah.
Okay, I hate to cut everybody off, but
you,
I gotta run.
Okay.
But I am.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
And we also have to wrap everything up in 10 minutes.
Yes, we do.
10 minutes, so.
We do have to
Thank
wrap
you.
up. Thank you, everybody, for inputting into that conversation. We'll keep it going.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for speaking up.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Howie.
Howie.
Hi, Howie.
All right.
On to special town meeting. Becky?
Okay, so as you all might remember, we talked about there could be need for a special town meeting if financial aid from the state came in higher than we anticipated. We anticipated a 30% cut in state aid, and we've been fully funded. We've been funded 100%, which means we have a little over $256,000 of free cash that we set aside to balance our budget. What I am proposing is, if the Finance Committee recommends tonight as well, that to retain that free cash, we need to have a special town meeting to amend the budget article to reduce the amount of free cash that was used.
Okay.
We have the possibility of, if we were to sign the warrant on the 18th, on next Tuesday, if the select board signs the warrant, the meeting could be held on September 5th, a Saturday at 9 a.m. I've discussed it with Catherine Hilton, Board of Health, and she has, she's talking to her committee about it, but feels like that we really have a good possibility of having a short Saturday meeting at Town Hall in the field without renting a big tent. We would put up the Board of Health tents in a couple of areas and ask people to bring chairs again as a one article item. There's a good shot I think it unlikely for it to go more than an hour and could be 15 minutes long.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Do we have any other business, or is this the only item. Sometimes there's end of the year, transfers or.
Those have all been done. Those are complete.
Okay.
They were all done by the finance committee, and so this would be the only piece of business
Great.
that we would need to do.
This is fabulous.
And it's just like the it's not reopening the budgets, it's just how the money gets
No,
allocated.
it's clear. The only reference, and I've gone over it with Donna. I'm sorry. The language is very simple. I will email it out to you as soon as Donna approves it. We went back and forth a little bit. But it does not open up the budget. It only refers to the free cash amounts and reducing, it talks about the Article 11 on the special and the annual town meeting warrant to amend the free cash from a total of $469,000 to $220,000.
Okay, so that's it.
That's
So-
it. It's clear cut and it doesn't open up the budget. It just refers to that one piece.
Right.
And if that action is not taken, then that would.
The money will go against, it'll reduce the tax rate even more than what we had anticipated. The 220,000 is for the purpose of reducing the tax rate about 250,000 on the average property.
$250, yeah.
Yeah.
$250.
And it could put us, if it went to reduce the tax rate, we could be even
further
a real structural deficit next year. Might
Yes,
have some
right.
real problems.
Yep.
Haven't spent that much free cash to pay for the budget.
Yep, and it would be a real shock to the community going all the way back up to
The following year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it up to us? Is that we?
The select board sets a special town meeting.
Okay.
So I would, if you all, given the time constraints, would vote to approve a special town meeting for September 5th, contingent upon finance committee no, you don't even need to do that.
No.
But they would make a recommendation.
Recommend or not recommend, that'll go on the warrant. You guys decide whether we're having a special town meeting.
Okay,
Right.
do I hear a motion for a special town meeting on September 5th?
You do.
And I'll second that. It's Labor Day weekend. What else would you do?
What else? We'll labor over the budget.
All right, all in favor?
Farrell, aye.
Stein, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Wonderful.
So by next meeting, we'll know what the FinCom recommends and we can make our recommendation at that time.
Right.
Well, we voted to have the town meeting. And
Yeah, we
FinCom-
have to have it.
Yes.
Yeah, and whether you vote to recommend the article or not is up to you.
Right.
Two separate things.
It's
Okay,
awesome news.
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
right.
that is
There's
awesome.
one last thing we have to do. The election workers list
You have to.
that Gray Spanish sent out to everyone.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to accept the election workers list from Grace or town clerk as written?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any further questions? All in favor?
Farrell, aye.
Stein, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. Okay. Becky, was there, we,
Paul Lyons is here. I hadn't seen him before. I'm
Paul,
sorry.
hello.
Hi, Paul.
Maybe he's not there.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
okay.
My dinner, yes. So yes, I can hear September 5th, and that is workable for me.
Okay,
Wonderful.
we'll
Is
keep
that
it
where
short,
you are?
hopefully.
Paul, are you in Vermont?
No, my trip got postponed until next week. So I am in Shutesbury.
Oh, great.
Wonderful place.
It is. It has its quirks. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, so we have a moderator and the select board, and we'll have a warrant next Tuesday.
Perfect.
Great.
Perfect.
Thank you all very much, and I apologize for my rushing. I have a finance committee meeting starting at 7.
Okay.
Want a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. All in favor?
Carol, I.
Stein, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, I. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Good night,
Good job.
everybody.
That was really nice. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.